What's up, guys? D-Rock1992 here. For this next video, I'm going to be talking about the big movies that came out in March. Now, March is where you start to see movies getting better. You know, you start to see more good movies starting to pick up. You know, the movie sphere starting to pick up, basically, from the duds of January and February. I think this month, though, was underwhelming at best, but I will talk about some of the high movies, you know, the ones I was anticipating, but didn't get to see, some of the big movies and all that. So I start out with the first movie, came out March 6th, Chappie. The Neil Blomkamp directed film, directed by Neil Blomkamp, who also directed Project, Elysium, I know he directed, and then District 9, I think it was. So a science fiction film. The guy was known for science fiction. The two big stars in the movie, Hugh Jackman and Sigourney Weaver, who have supporting roles in the film. Chappie, on a budget of $49 million, it made $77.5 million. Probably pretty disappointing for the type of movie it was supposed to be. I think that was kind of disappointing. It made money, but not very much. The critical response on Rotten Tomatoes, 31%. So it definitely did not do well critically. The next movie I'm going to be discussing in March, Unfinished Business, which I wasn't very impressed by the trailers to this movie. It has Vince Vaughn, it's a Vince Vaughn comedy, Tom Wilkinson, Dave Franco, and Sienna Miller as well, and it was very underwhelming. It didn't look like I said, it didn't look like on the trailers that it was that great, and it just did not do well. $35 million budget, $13.6 million at the box office. A box office bomb. And reception for it, 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. Bad movie. I didn't get to see it, but it was just rated as bad. March 13th. Cinderella comes out, the live-action adaptation of the 1950 animated movie from Walt Disney. So this movie comes out, and it's very anticipated of how it's going to do. Cate Blanchett is in the movie. She's a good actress. Helena Bonham Carter, Lily James as Cinderella. And this movie was a hit. $95 million budget, and it made $399 million. So just outside of $400 million. So it was a big hit. And this movie got an 84% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So it really was one of the first big movies of the year. I mean, one of the first big movies of the year that got good critical reviews and made money. 50 Shades of Grey, you know, back in February, that made money, but it did not get good reviews. Cinderella's the first one to kind of get both. Both the big box office totals and then the good critical reviews as well. Next movie to talk about, Run All Night. Another Liam Neeson action film. You might as well call it Taken with the Kid, with a son instead of a daughter. But Run All Night, a movie with Liam Neeson, Ed Harris in the movie. Ed Harris has turned up in a lot of films. The rapper Common is in the film. And this movie didn't do well box office-wise. On a budget of $50 million, it lost money. Box office-wise, $45.2 million. So it lost some money. And the reviews for it were mixed to positive, actually. 61%, you know, on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not bad. It's not great. It's also not bad. So it's kind of one of those movies in the middle. But definitely better received than Taken 3. Another movie to talk about. I doubt anyone has ever heard of this movie, but Danny Collins. Danny Collins, starring Al Pacino, the great Al Pacino, Jennifer Garner, and a couple other people as well. I doubt anyone's ever heard of it, but on a budget of $10 million, it made $776,860. So box office-wise, it was not very good. But positive reviews, 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. So critics liked it, largely liked it. It was a movie about him as a rock star, an aging rock star, named Danny Collins. So this movie, good critically, bad box office-wise. But I doubt anyone's heard of it. I'm just talking about it because Al frickin' Pacino's in the movie. And he's a very good actor. Let's see here. The Divergent series, or the Divergent series Insurgent, came out March 20th, the second movie in the Divergent series. The first one came out last year, Divergent, and this one is the second one. Shailene Woodley, Jai Courtney, Octavia Spencer, Miles Teller, Ansel Elgort, and many others, Naomi Watts, Kate Winslet, and many others are in this film. The movie made money. $110 million budget, $226.2 million. So it definitely made money. Critics, though, did not really like the film. 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I've heard a lot of things about how it's a Hunger Games ripoff, kind of. It's a science fiction film. I've heard stuff about how it is a ripoff of Hunger Games and a lot of other sci-fi movies, I guess. But yeah, good box office-wise, bad critically. Excuse me. Next film. The Gunman. This one I was looking forward to. I actually wanted to see it because it was kind of like, it was basically Taken with Sean Penn in it. Sean Penn, a two-time Academy Award winner, a very good, accomplished actor. Javier Bardem, who was the Bond villain in Skyfall, and he's been in a few other movies. Idris Elba, who a lot of people say could be the next James Bond. The first black James Bond as well, but anyway. The Gunman. It looked good from the trailers, but it was a dud. On a $40 million budget, it made $11.8 million. It was a box office bomb. 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it was a very bad film in the month of March. And then we get to the movie that I did see, March 27th. There was a bit of competition on this date. Get Hard was the movie I did see, and in my review I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved the movie. It was hilarious. Having said that, though, Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart are in the movie. Having said that, the movie really didn't do a lot box office wise. They had a budget of $40 million for the film. $68.9 million, so it really didn't overwhelm at the box office. And then critically, 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, so a bad rating on Rotten Tomatoes. But the chemistry between Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell is awesome in this movie. I love the film personally. And then the last one I'm going to be talking about for February is the animated movie Home. This is one of the rare options for kids, basically, to enjoy themselves, to go out to the movies with their parents. A family film. Home has a big cast. Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory. Rihanna, the singer. Jennifer Lopez. Steve Martin, the comedic genius. Home, you know, an animated film. The budget was $135 million. Box office $183.6 million. So box office wise, it did decent, but not great, comparing it to the budget. The reception for it was mixed. 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. And typically you see animated movies get high reviews, especially Pixar movies, Walt Disney animated movies, DreamWorks. You know, you see them get very high ratings. And Home was a DreamWorks movie. But it just didn't get very good reviews. 47%, just not great. And it didn't really make a ton of money against the budget. So not really. That's it for March. That was all the big movies that came out in March, you know. In terms of success, I mean, you had... It was an underwhelming month of March. You know, Run All Night did reasonably well, but the big movie in this month was Cinderella. The big movie in February was 50 Shades of Grey. The big movie in January was American Sniper. The Bradley Cooper, Sienna Miller movie. Cinderella was the clear winner in March, for sure. I'm going to be talking about April, when the month ends. But you guys probably have a pretty good idea of who's going to win that month. But I'm going to leave it until April. I'm going to actually, at the end of April, which is a little while, it's going to be a little while until I have the April video up, but I am going to be talking about the April movies that came out, and how they did, and things like that. So without further ado, that is it for the video on March movies of this year. D-Rock 1992, out.